This video will go over how to troubleshoot SEDD errors in FUDSChem. The USACE requires labs to submit their laboratory data in SEDD 5.2 format, Stage 2A. For this video, we have already uploaded and screened a file under Tools, Data Submission. For more information on submitting SEDD files to FUDSChem, please refer to our Laboratory SEDD Submission tutorial video, linked in the description. When you screen a file, the system runs two waves of screening checks. The first wave confirms that the file uses valid values, and that all fields will be read by the system correctly. The second wave compares the file to the eQuap and field data to confirm everything matches. This helps ensure that the client is getting the data they need, which can save costly rework by catching discrepancies early on. Since checks are performed in waves, it's possible to resolve all errors from the first wave and then encounter more during the second. Checks are designed to help make sure data is of the highest possible quality. They are added and updated periodically in order to prevent new issues that are found. For this example, we have a file that flagged some VVL, or valid value, errors during the first wave of checks. Click the number of errors to access the error report. Like our other reports, you can save this report in various formats by clicking the floppy disk icon, or print it by clicking the printer icon. The error report will always follow the same format. The gray box includes the name and description of the error. It is followed by a tip to help you know what needs to be done to resolve it. Relevant data from your file is shown below to pinpoint where the error is found. We'll troubleshoot the SPVVL08SA code error. The description says that the sample type must be a valid value, and the tip tells us to look at the valid value lists. The section below shows us that the QC type of field sample is causing the issue. Field sample must not be a valid value for QC type, so we will need to look up the valid values and update our file. To view the valid values, go to Reports, ADR and Submission Reports, Valid Value Lists. Select SEDD 5.2 2A5 as the data table. Select QC type as the data type. Click View Report. Let's look at the valid values to see what should be used for field samples. We see that the correct valid value is field sample with an underscore, rather than field sample as one word, like we currently have in our file. To resolve this error, we would need to correct the value in our LIMS system and regenerate the file. We will upload our new version and screen it. Once any valid value errors are resolved, the system will move on to submission checks. You can see we went from having some valid value errors to having submission errors. That means we fixed the first set of errors and the second wave of checks was able to run. Click on the number of errors to refresh the error report. We'll troubleshoot the SPPSE01L field ID and the SPPSE01L field ID test leach errors. Oftentimes, these two errors are caused by the same thing, and solving one will solve the other. The error report tells us that the samples in the SEDD must agree with the ones requested for analysis in the field information tables. This means there is a mismatch between what the contractor entered for the chain of custody and what is contained in the SEDD file. As the error tip directs, we can see what was entered for the field data by going to Reports, ADR and Submission Reports, Submitted Field Samples. Let's go there now. Select the correct project and event, then click View Report. If you do not see the correct project or event in the dropdown, this may mean that the contractor has not yet entered the chain of custody information, so the report cannot run. Reach out to your contractor if this is the case. In our case, we can select the correct event so we know that the chain of custody was entered. There must be a mismatch between what we have in our SEDD file and what the contractor entered. We'll start comparing this table with the information from the error report. Use the search bar to look for part of our sample name that came up in the error report, 466S. We can see that the sample name in the field data starts with CRB-, which is missing from the sample name in the SEDD file. At this point, we would look at the hard copy chain of custody and see if there is a typo in the SEDD file or if the contractor made a typo when digitizing the chain of custody. If the typo was in the field data, we would alert the contractor so they can correct it. If the typo was in the SEDD file, we would correct the error in our LIMS system and regenerate the file. We will upload and screen the corrected version. As a note, if the updated file has the same name as before, you don't have to delete the old version. The new file will overwrite the old one. The file is now ready to certify with 0 errors. If an error is unclear, you can go to Help, SEDD Troubleshooting to see a list of how to troubleshoot common errors, including the ones we went over today. This page also includes information on what to do if your file has an unusual status, has 0 records, or if the error report does not run. For further assistance, please reach out to your Synectics point of contact. Leave the SEDD file where it is in data submission so we can take a look at it and more easily troubleshoot. Once errors are resolved, be sure to review the warnings. Though warnings will not prevent you from certifying your file, they are still items of interest and resolving them will improve your product for your client. Click the number of warnings to open a warning report. Here you would review the warnings and determine if you can resolve them. In some cases, warnings cannot be resolved and will need to be left as is. Once the file has 0 errors and warnings have been reviewed, it is time to certify. As a best practice, click Rename to rename the file to match the SDG number. The name of your SEDD file comes up in reports and dropdowns, so it is important that it match the SDG number. Then, select the file and click Certify. This sends the file into the queue where the ADR automatically applies qualifiers and the data validator can start validation. Once the file is certified, please upload the corresponding lab report PDF to the library for the validator to reference. As a best practice, wait until after the SEDD file is certified, so that if you end up needing to edit the SEDD, such as to update a sample name, those edits can be made to the report as well. For more information on uploading reports, please refer to our library submission tutorial video, linked in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to the FUDSChem YouTube channel for more tutorial videos. All of the tutorials and playlists mentioned during this video are linked in the description below. Lastly, if you have questions or comments, feel free to contact us at fuds.support@synectics.net. Thank you.